Good morning. It's morning where I am, and it's morning where I was in my mind from one day ago, because today's painting is from a memory from yesterday. I was driving. I'll tell you about it in the long form that's coming up, but in the short form right here, I was driving, and Robin and I were heading to her doctor's office, and the morning sun was just hitting everything, and we were driving past this beautiful farm, this open field, and so I don't know if you know, and there was a pond on it. So, oh my gosh, it looks just like a mess of green and yellow, doesn't it? So maybe I didn't quite get it. But anyway, this is the painting we're gonna do today. It looks like a scene, I guess. I'm trying to decide if I like it or not. But anyway, that's what I'm gonna paint today, and I'll show you how I did this right now. Good morning. Today, I'm gonna paint a watercolor greeting card. I'm using these paints, Winsor and Newton, Cotman watercolors. This box is from this set here, but I do have an older set here. I lost the box. But this is what it is, for those who want to know. Winsor and Newton. And today we are going to explore the morning light. I think I have a tendency when I do paintings, I want to make the sky the brightest in the background, and then everything else not as bright. But in this case, I wanted to try something that I saw the other day. It was early in the morning, and actually it was yesterday, and I drove Robin to see her doctor, and we drove through this beautiful piece of this beautiful road, and lots of beautiful like horse farms along the side of the road. And in the distance I saw the brightest area was some of the trees that were getting lit by the sun. So I'm going to start there. I know that sounds weird, but I'm just going to start there. And I didn't take a photograph of it, so I'm just going to try to remember it. I'm going to add just the yellow-green that was coming off of those trees as the sunlight hit them. It was just so magnificent. And there was a pond off to the side that the horses use for everything, I guess, for drinking, for cooling down. In the summer, I'm sure it gets pretty hot out there for the horses here in Florida. I don't know anything about raising horses, even though I live in a very horse-centric place. So I'm just kind of making it up as I go, if you don't mind. Just making it up, and I know I'm purposely laying down the lightest colors first, without any real idea, except for the reflection in the water. Anyway, so that's the idea for this painting today. Let's hope I can pull it off. A lot of the light was just, it's dazzling to me to see this. So that's the light, actually. I'm just going to just kind of treat it, make it like that. I don't know how else to do it. And then that's going to be reflected down here. So it's going to be some of that bright yellow, or yellow-green. I guess you can just say yellow. It's so just sunlight is everywhere. And then that sunlight is reflecting down here into the water. So there's like a water's edge here. It was far away. It wasn't near to where we were driving. It was off in the distance. The same farm that we saw yesterday with this light on it is also spectacular in the Christmas season, because whoever owns this farm decorates it with Oh my gosh, so many Christmas lights. So when you drive through at night, you see all these beautiful Christmas lights. But it's April 18th, and it's autumn here, so. Alright, now let's try to add some of the darker colors. I feel like that's like all I'm going to do is dark and light today. So, I'm a fan of the mornings. I love the mornings. When I knew Robin had to go see her doctor is about, gosh, I don't know how far away it is. Let me see. I'm just gonna guess. I don't want to use Siri. I think it's about maybe 15 miles away. Maybe 20. 15 or 20 miles away. And and there was a lot of traffic because people going to work and people going to school, and yeah, they were everywhere. So we had a lot of traffic, and that traffic slowed us down. And some of the places where we were slowed down, we were actually stopped. And I know if you're a commuter, that's a frustrating thing. But for me and for Robin, it was beautiful because we got to look at the sunlight hitting the distant trees, and I'm gonna try to figure out what color is this here. Oh, it's a little bit darker. That's okay. Let's just kind of add it around here. Right now, it just looks like a bunch of blobs, right? Don't want to use too much of this. This is kind of a brown, so I'll just kind of dab it in there a little bit. This is a poem about mornings that I want to find. Let's see. It's by a poet named Louis MacNeice. Louis MacNeice was born on September 12th, 1907, in Belfast, Ireland. So let me read the poem to you that he wrote. It's called The Sunlight on the Garden. Oh my gosh. It's perfect for what we're doing here. And this is what he writes. Do you mind if I read this? The sunlight on the garden hardens and grows cold. We cannot cage the minute within its nets of gold. When all is told, we cannot beg for pardon. Our freedom as free lances advances towards its end. The earth compels upon it. Sonnets and birds descend. And soon, my friend, we shall have no time for dances. It's kind of sad, huh? The sky was good for flying, defying the church bells and every evil iron. Siren and what it tells. The earth compels, we are dying, Egypt dying. And not expecting pardon, hardened in heart anew, but glad to have sat under thunder and rain with you, and grateful too for sunlight on the garden. Wow. Wow. Somebody wrote an analysis that says, this poem captures the fleeting nature of time and the beauty of the world. Yes, the speaker reflects on the passage of time and the realization that life is finite. Well, I suppose that's true. I didn't intend to bring a downer to this video here, but I guess he's speaking the truth. But it's not the way I looked at it yesterday. I didn't look at it as, oh my gosh, it's going to go away soon. Honestly, I didn't. I didn't look at the morning light, the beautiful morning light, in a way that made me feel like it's so temporary. I don't know why we expect everything to be permanent anyway. You know, we shouldn't really expect everything to be permanent. I mean, nothing is. Even stars explode. Create supernova. And a star that was once brilliant as a star becomes even more magnificent as a supernova. Right? I think there's one happening right now in the sky. I saw some news pieces about something like that. Boy, I hope I do this picture right. Yeah, I don't know. I like the poem. I guess I like the idea that we should stop and smell the roses, you know. Pay attention to the beauty around us. You know, putting it into human language, what am I trying to say here? Putting it into a different way of looking at it. I think I may have shared this on this channel once before, but when my son was little, I always referred to my son. It was it's the biggest thing for me. When I go to heaven, I'm going to say to God, before you start chastising me for all the bad things I did, I haven't done very bad things. But you know what I mean, we all have something we're going to have to answer to. I guess that's what we're told anyway. But I'm going to say, can I please just thank you for allowing me to be a dad? That was clearly one of the best, beautiful gifts I ever had. Was that experience. And while, you know, intellectually we know it's not going to last forever, you don't really realize it. Not really. I said to my son, I'm pretty sure I shared this with you guys once in another video, but I said to him once, he took me out for my birthday. At this point in the story, he's an adult. In fact, he had a son of his own at that point. I have a grandson. And they took me out to eat at a place called Ruby Tuesdays. I kept singing that Rolling Stones song to him. Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday. Remember that song? I don't think that restaurant's around anymore. But I said to him at Ruby Tuesdays, he picked up his son, and I said, you know, I don't remember the last time I picked you up. When I put you down, after I picked you up that day, whenever that was, it didn't occur to me that was going to be the last time I ever pick you up and put you down. So I said to him, can I pick you up now? He had to be over 200 pounds. So, this picture looks horrible so far. Oh my God, I hope it looks good by the time I'm done with it. But anyway, so silly thing, I know. Tried to pick him up. I couldn't pick him up. I just wasn't able to pick him up. But that was a fun moment for me. So the idea here is to get the middle of the picture bright. And then the middle of the reflection bright also. I hope I can do this. I'm just damming it everywhere, just trying to imagine it. Try to recreate everything twice so they have the reflection in the bottom. So as far as the morning being a metaphor for for how temporary things are. I suppose that's true. I'm not going to argue that. That seems like an easy thing to agree with. But I guess my point is not to dwell on it, just to enjoy it when it happens. I love the way dogs are. Dogs are so in the moment. They're so, whatever's happening, it's happening right now. They don't think about tomorrow. I doubt it. I seriously doubt that a dog thinks about tomorrow. What do you think? You think dogs think about tomorrow? I create this little bit of a line here so I can kind of have an idea of where the water is. And everything has to be light, and then I make it darker. I hope I get this right. I guess I'll promise you that I'll upload this video even if it does come out crappy. So you know already because you've seen the intro video. I may end up using some gouache to accentuate some of this. See, there's so much light happening, but there's some super bright spots, and then there's some mid-light spots. It's hard to do it from memory because I don't really remember everything, and I'm making stuff up as I go along too. There's no way this is a photographic representation of what I saw, what Robin and I both saw. But I think it'll be close. Well, it'll have the feeling of morning. We went one time on a bicycle ride on a trail near the University of Florida. And we went early in the morning. And this was a beautiful trail. It was paved, first of all. That's because neither Robin or I are skilled bicyclists. We just ride like we did when we were kids. That's the honest truth. But what happened, because we went early, was we got this magnificent experience. You know what we saw? We saw some deer. We saw some owls. I think Robin's favorite thing of that day was the owls, because the owls were in a tree right at eye level. I mean, they were right there. And that was very cool to see that. Trying to add a little bit of darkness to this background to accentuate the brightness. It's sort of starting to look the way I want it to. I'm not really sure. So we saw the deer, we saw the owls, and we did go over bodies of water, and I don't think we saw any alligators. But as you know, here in Florida, they are everywhere. Somebody was pointing something out to me the other day. I had been talking about when I was much younger, my brothers and I would take these little john boats out into this tiny little pond here in Florida. We didn't live here at that time, but we would visit because my grandparents lived here. And we took this john boat out, a little tiny metal boat, and no motor, just a couple of paddles. And I mentioned when I was talking about it, that we didn't see any alligators. I don't remember seeing any alligators. And somebody pointed out that back then, alligators were endangered. So it's possible that there were no alligators in that pond back then. I went to visit that pond just like last month, just to see what it looked like, to kind of revisit it I wanted to share the memory with Robin and all that, you know. You know how we do when you get older, you want to live in your memory a little bit. And if you can drive to the place where the memory happened, that's even better. So that's what we did. We drove over there, and I told her about all that, and it didn't occur to me that maybe the reason we didn't see alligators was because they were endangered and there weren't as many back then. And then because they were endangered, the state made it a crime to hunt them. And so now there's a lot of alligators in Florida. I'm sure you've seen the videos. I think we have a reputation for alligators. I guess it's a good one. Not good to have alligators. There's some bad, horrible stories, but I mean, it's just part of what happens around here. Is this starting to look like a landscape? So see, I wanted the middle part to be the brightest part. That's the main goal here. Maybe I can even leave some white showing through. Let's get some of this yellow-green here. Oops, that looks black, doesn't it? All I'm really trying to do is do two pictures, one that upside down of this. Not exactly, but close. Rough upside down. When I use digital art, I can just simply copy and paste, but you flip it upside down before you paste it, you know, or after you paste it. So the morning light, I used to work on the beach in Santa Monica too, and I worked at a pizza place, but you had to get there super early. I mean, before sunrise, and it was always beautiful to walk down to the beach. I was 22 years old, so it was a great time for me. I took Robin there too and showed her where that was. And I felt so old when I was there because it's a young place, you know, there's a lot of young people there. And back then, I was one of those young people. And now I'm not. Now I'm Papa. And you want to know something? You want to know a secret? I love being a Papa. I love it when my little grandson calls me Papa. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. You ever see these like advertisements, reverse aging? Is that even true? I mean, do people reverse their age? I just think enjoying where you are at any given time is maybe the real secret to life. Just enjoying where you are, enjoying who you are. Don't try to be somebody else. In the world of art, I often will listen to people say, I wish I could draw like you, I wish I could paint like you. Not just to me, but they'll say it to other artists as well. And if you really want to draw, you really want to paint, just paint. Just do it. I don't think there's a single butterfly out there that looks at another butterfly and says, I wish I had your colors. I don't think there's a single dog out there. I don't think a Chihuahua looks at a Great Dane and says, "I wish I was big like you." I don't think there's a bulldog. It's a funny metaphor, isn't it? I don't think there's a bulldog out there that looks at a poodle and says, "I wish I was pretty like you." I just don't think that happens. I don't think so. Now they might say, "I wish I had as much food as you." If there was an animal in the jungle, could be an animal saying, "I wish I had as much food as you." That could be. I'm just silly. I'm being silly. I doubt that they do that at all. I doubt that they wish. There was a thing in the news yesterday that some scientists had recorded some whales, I think, if I'm remembering this right, and then they were putting the sounds of the whales into the water to try to communicate with other whales, actual whales. And well, the way the story was written, it was as if they were communicating and like having a conversation. And the odd thing about the article was that this was going to be how we figure out how to communicate with aliens and extraterrestrials. Could be. Could be, I don't know. But anyway, they said they were talking to whales. So, I don't know if you like dad jokes, but I got a dad joke for you. I was imagining that the whales, once they realized they were talking to humans, that they would say to themselves, "Hey, let's tell them a dad joke. We got some dad jokes." So you want to hear a dad joke that a whale might tell? Okay, especially if he's talking to a marine biologist. So here you go. I don't want you to groan. I don't want you to say, "Oh my gosh." I don't want to cancel your subscription to my channel. No, I just want to tell you a joke. Okay, you ready for it? Are you ready for my joke? It's not mine, by the way. It's an old joke. What's the difference? Here's the joke. What's the difference between a marine biologist and a dog? What's the difference between a marine biologist and a dog? Well, a dog wags his tail. A marine biologist tags his whale. Silly, right? This is a silly one. I got another one. What do whales like to chew? Blubber gum. Okay, that's enough for the dad jokes. I know. They're not that great. But I bet you tell somebody. Bet you tell somebody the whale jokes. Maybe not. Maybe not. I told the pastor at the church a dad joke once, and I didn't know he was going to repeat it to the congregation, but he did. Anyway, here's the joke. And I didn't make this up. This was stuff, I don't know, I heard along the way, just silly little things. So the joke is, a pastor says to his congregation, somebody in this congregation is possessed by an owl. And suddenly, a lady in the front row says, "Who?" You like that? That's funny. Who? Who's her? She said who? And then he told it to the congregation. But he changed it. He said everybody in the congregation said who. I guess he didn't want to single anybody out in the front row. Alright, let's see what we got here. Trying to keep this light and that dark. Trying to contrast the colors. think I need the darks to be a little bit darker, and I think I need them to be imposing their way into some of these lighted areas. It's a very green picture, isn't it? So today, later on, we're going to try, I think, to walk around a pond. And the whole walk, according to Google Maps, is about a mile. So that's not too bad. It's not too difficult to do a mile. I can handle a mile. I can handle probably 3 miles. But it gets much farther than that, and I start to look for a bench. Yes. I call benches the old man's friend. Because they are my friend. I see a bench. I see a bench. Have you ever seen a bench? And you say, oh, there's my bench. And you're walking toward it, and somebody else gets it before you get there. It's like, oh no. Oh no, the bench is gone. Or have you ever been someplace like where there was no place to sit? You went to a person's house, like they were having a gathering of some sort, that's a birthday party or something. And you get to the house, and there's other people there, of course, and every single chair is occupied. It's like, whoa, there's no place to sit here. I'm trying to define some of these little tree areas here. Down here it doesn't have to be so defined because this is the reflection. I do think one thing I probably need to do is add some vertical lines, because this is just looking like a abstract picture right now. Nothing wrong with abstract. That's not what I wanted. All right, let me try something here. Before I start adding vertical lines, I'm going to try to pull up some of these areas here. See if I can do it, this technique. Have you ever done this? Just take a napkin, try and get some of the paint off of the paper. Just try to get it light again. Let the paper shine through. Yeah, I've never done this before on the videos. I don't think I've done this. But this is a good way to remove watercolor, and it'll leave a stain, of course. It'll leave something there, but that's okay. Sometimes that's what you want. Let's do it a couple places. Let's do it over here. The sunlight is hitting over here. Let's pick some of it up. Do it a few more places. I wouldn't need to do this if I had a reference photo. I probably wouldn't have done that. Who knows? Maybe I would have. Right now, I'm just making something up. The whole thing is to get that look that I saw yesterday. That bright yellow. part that struck me most was the bright yellow. Let me lift some from down here too. Make this a little bit bigger. A little bit brighter here, if I can. See how it picks it up? Gets those dark colors up off of the paper. Go ahead and lift some of the black from the water too. Give it a little bit more of a water reflective look. Kind of fun doing this. Yeah, make it less defined. It was a little bit too defined, I think, in some areas. I just want it to be almost like you're squinting your eyes. All right, now let's add some vertical lines. We'll use kind of mixed green with this very dark color here. I'm not sure what that is. It might be Payne's gray or black or something. There's some of that, and here's the reflection of that. A few little hints of tree limbs, and then reflection, the same thing. There's some little bushes here close to the water's edge. Lighten up this a little bit, use that water to pull up some of this color here. Use a napkin. I gotta add some color to it. It's not quite the way I wanted. It's a little bit too light now. Let's put some there. That's good. Just this dirty green, I think, right there. Right now, what I think I want to do is add a little bit of white, a couple of white lines in there. Let's see if I can use a gouache. I have some dried gouache over here I can just reactivate. Let's see if this works. Whoops. I don't know if that did anything. Yeah, there's some. Sometimes the trees don't look black, they look white or yellow. Especially in the distance like that. I don't know if I want to do too much of that, but just a little bit. There'll be a tree that's getting hit by light. And put some reflections down here. And now, let's do that little illustrator's trick. Put some little horizontal lines using the gouache. A little bit of horizontal lines to create that water effect. This looks nothing like what I saw yesterday. Just so you know. I didn't really recreate what I saw yesterday. Maybe I recreated the feeling of what I saw. I like this technique of putting those very fine white lines to create the feeling of water. It's a very effective way, I think, of creating that look. Okay, I think that's enough. What do you think? Let me spread out that color on the back of the card, just so it blends in better and doesn't look like a big old blob. Add a little bit of green to that. Just spread the back of the card further up toward the bottom of the opposite side. Right now it's just dirty water. That's okay. Dirty water. Well, what do you think? I don't know. I'm not really sure what I think of this. Does this look good? Does it have that look of a tree getting hit by sunlight early in the morning? Well, I guess I got the brightest spot in the middle. That's what I wanted. The brightest spot in the middle. Let me cover up some of these spots that are a little bit too bright down here. Okay. Well, there it is. The morning light. The morning light. I'll let it dry. What do you think? Did I accomplish the look? I'm not so sure I like it. It's okay. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.